as far as how they do what they do in their sports, but they have a hole in their game that has prevented them and potentially will continue to prevent them from reaching the top of their respective game. So I want you to follow me down a hypothetical for a moment. That hypothetical is, what if Lamar Jackson this postseason had gone into Arrowhead, taken Patrick Mahomes' best shot, and not played a different game than he typically does, not thrown for 400 yards, but run for 200, passed for 150, and won. And then gone to the Super Bowl and did something similar. Ran for like 14 first downs, 175 yards on the ground, 125 yards through the air, and won the Super Bowl. Then, holes be damned, we would be saying, you know what? That guy right there, he's the best quarterback alive. Don't care if the way Mahomes or Rodgers do it is prettier or there's more historical comps for it. If playing his way, he had beaten the best in the game, in his building no less, and had gone on to win a championship, then it would be ludicrous to talk about what he can't do, because what he can do would have been good enough to win the championship, going through quite the gauntlet of competition in my hypothetical scenario. Well, folks, we are on the precipice of Giannis Antetokounmpo doing exactly that. I know what Giannis can't do. Everyone knows what Giannis can't do. And in fact, later in the show, we're going to discuss other superstars the way we discuss Giannis to try to show how absurd so much of the discussion surrounding Giannis has been. But we know what Giannis can't do. But what if what he can do is simply unstoppable? That is what we're seeing. And if Giannis continues this, not only will the Bucks win the championship, but Giannis will have the best claim anyone not named LeBron James has had in 15 years, that he is, in fact, the best basketball player alive. We've been waiting quite some time to see who is going to take that mythical but very important mantle from LeBron. And LeBron going out in the first round, being injured for the second time in 3 seasons, has opened that door, despite the fact that he's currently right now the defending finals MVP. But to be able to walk through that door, it can't just be one great playoff run like Kawhi had. It certainly can't just be one amazing regular season like Jokic had. It's got to be all of the above. Giannis already has the regular season hardware. Giannis already has the regular season accolades. And Giannis is building a historically great postseason case. And I won't go through right here, we'll do it in an hour, but I won't go through right here all of the eye-popping numbers from Giannis. But I will give you one. 40-point games in the finals. We're numb to it because LeBron's got 8 of them. But if you remove LeBron's 8, then all of a sudden you're in a situation where in the last 15 years, there have only been 7 total. And in the last 40 years, those are the only 3 guys with more than Giannis has had in the last 96 hours. Kevin Durant, as great as he is, has scored 40 in a finals game once. Kobe Bryant, one of the 8 greatest players in the history of the sport, scored 40 in a finals game once. He played in 37 of them. Giannis has played in 3. His first one was when he's coming off the hyperextended knee, and he's done it twice in the last 2. Kareem did it once, Bird did it once, Duncan did it once. Giannis has done it twice since you probably last called your mother. that is how you all of a sudden go from 3 weeks ago, oh my God, Giannis doesn't belong in the same league as Durant, to then outplaying Durant in a Game 7 in Durant's building, scoring the game-tying bucket on Durant in overtime, suffering what looked like a Willis McGahee injury, and then being back a week later. And now, I believe, has his team in control of these finals. Now, the guy who's supposed to be able to match Giannis is Devin Booker. And we'll get to Booker in just a moment. But to put a pin in the Giannis discussion, when I say best player alive, if we don't even have to go modern NBA era, go from Russell to now, it's a very, very short list of guys that have worn that crown. Russell and Wilt shared it in the 60s. Kareem had it for the vast majority of the 70s. Late 70s, early 80s, Dr. J, from what he did in the ABA to coming to the NBA and instantly winning league MVP, plus Moses, who won 3 MVPs in 5 years, those two guys had it. Then Bird had it. Then Magic had it. Then Michael had it. Michael left. Akeem took it. Michael came back. He took it back. Then it went Shaq to Duncan to LeBron. Kobe fans would argue that I should have Kobe in there from like 07 to 10. I think LeBron became the best player alive after the 48 special in Detroit. But if you want to add Kobe, that's fine. But that's less than a dozen human beings in history who have held this crown. Giannis, 3 wins away from holding it himself. And the Bucks are going to get those 3 wins if Devin Booker doesn't start playing better. Even if he does, they might. And Devin Booker last night was 3 for 14, and he didn't play in the fourth quarter. And quietly, Devin Booker, since the game in which he broke his nose, Game 2 against the Clippers, he's played 8 games, has not shot over 50% once. In fact, in these entire playoffs, he's only shot over 50% 4 out of his 19 games. And in those last 8 playoff games, Booker is shooting 36% from the field, less than 30% from 3. And in these finals, was mediocre in Game 1, was bad in Game 3, was 4 for 12 in the first half of Game 2, but then was excellent in the second half of Game 2. And he and Ayton's energy late, what Chris Paul did, it was like, okay, Booker played great, was probably best player on his team in that game. So it got papered over a bit. But last night he was bad, and people are acknowledging it, but not killing him for it. And I'm not here to kill him for it, because Devin Booker is not the caliber of player that deserves to get killed for a terrible game. Now, that might sound like an indictment, but it's not. It is, and we've discussed this before, I think, on this show, it is the superstar test. Do you want to know who is and who isn't a superstar in this league? Ask yourself this question. Can you have a 3 for 14 and have it not be the lead or the secondary lead from that game? If you can, then you're not. So there's during the broadcast, during these playoffs, we've had the word superstar thrown around awful liberally. Trae Young's a superstar. No, he's not. Not yet. Donovan Mitchell's a superstar. No, he's not. Not yet. Julius Randle, superstar. Not even close. Devin Booker, who I think most people are like, oh, he's better than all those guys except for maybe Donovan, maybe including Donovan. He's clearly a superstar. No, he's not. He's a star. He is a future superstar. But when you can go 3 for 14, have your coach, for reasons that I don't yet totally understand, sit you for the entire fourth quarter, and it is not the overwhelming lead, or thanks to what Giannis did, secondary lead where people are eviscerating him, it means not a superstar. We know what would happen if LeBron, KD, Giannis, Kawhi, Steph, those guys had that game and their team put them on the bench for the fourth quarter. It is the story. You know why? Because they're superstars. Devin Booker is an excellent player. One day will be a superstar. Is not yet. And you can tell by the lack of criticism that he's getting today. Speaking of criticism,